Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and Bitcoin is making history, and there's a lot that people need to understand about what's actually happening right now. As we see it bounce over $100,000, below $100,000, up again, below again. This is something that I have been watching since 2009 and have been heavily involved in, talking with community members and looking at the technology and the economic factors of this since about 2013. And I think I know a bit more than most of these people that are going to give you bad advice. Also, the relation with CBDCs and, the difference between one kind of digital currency and another, and where this is going with the dollar as we see this out of zero hedge. You're welcome. Trump congratulates Bitcoiners on $100,000. BlackRock ETF tops $50 billion in record time. That should be a big red flag when you see BlackRock's name involved. But there's so much more to this. And by the way, there are so many shit coins going around as per usual, people losing their life savings in this stuff. And if you are losing your life savings buying Tuah coin, you kind of, I don't know, I hate to say this, but you kind of deserve this. Losing your kids' college fund over this, I mean, absolutely absurd. There are so many fundamentals here that could be utilized in order to fight back against technocracy, which is ironic considering we're talking about digital currency here. But we're seeing crypto move in ways that we haven't since 2021. I predicted the day basically around which we would see a major move into a new bull market after I pointed out back in April 2021, even though we saw it go up higher after that. That was a BlackRock bump. I said in April 2021, we'll see it go down and we'll see it reach pretty low levels, even as low as maybe $13,000 or $14,000 and then bounce up around November 5th, November 6th of 2024. I even put in buy or sell orders around that time. Now, I don't have much crypto. I've used it all to finance this media operation so we could stay alive because, of course, we're controversial and it's almost impossible for us to actually make money at this. And it's not about making money. It's about keeping the truth out there. So, if you guys want, before we get into all this, I urge you to check those links in the description. We have a Bitcoin address if you want to help donate to us. We truly, truly appreciate it. You can also scan what's on the screen here and send through that. Excuse me. And also, if you want, again, we've used this to keep ourselves funded since specifically 2016, but 2013 as well. We have a CoinTree link in the description as well that you could donate in multiple different types of cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dash, Monero, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Satoshi Vision. We have Pirate Chain, Epic Cash, Lite Cash, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to help support us, we truly, truly appreciate it. We couldn't survive without you. We are just trying to get the truth out there. So go and check it out. These are really cool on CoinTree. You could just click on one of these coins and you can pay a certain amount, proceed to payment, and then it brings you to a page where you can either scan or put the address in. So go and check that out. Thank you to those who've been able to help us over time. We could not survive without you, which is also why if you help us with fiat, which we're not a big fan of, but fiat keeps us alive so that we can continue bringing that truth to the public. Go and check out our gogetfunding.com campaign, Patreon, Subscribestar, are all linked in the description. I really appreciate any help we can get because we could not survive without you. We are funded by you. Now let's get into this. So as it says, you're welcome. Trump congratulates Bitcoiners on $100,000. BlackRock ETF tops $50 billion in record time. Now, let me be entirely clear here. I've been talking about crypto for a very, very, very long time, more than almost any of those so-called influencers that have been talking about crypto. But I don't talk about it all the time because there are other things to talk about in the news, and there's reasons to utilize this, though, to get outside of that system. But I want to be clear first. I've been saying something for a very long time about this. One of the ways they will enslave humanity is through a cashless society. And that's utilizing the banking system. That's utilizing the government by fiat, by law. And that is how they will get you into a new social credit system, carbon credits, digital IDs, 15-minute cities, all these different things that the World Economic Forum wants. And they are actually trying to utilize cryptocurrencies like XRP to bring in these new world reserve currencies that are digital and pretend that they're based on gold like they do with BRICS, which it's not based in gold. But they'll say that, but show us the evidence. It's like Fort Knox. Can you trade it in for gold? No. So therefore, it's not real. But People will say, okay, well, this is a digital currency and you are against digital currencies. And I say, absolutely. But you can use a gun to slaughter a whole bunch of innocent people, but you can also use that same gun to save all those innocent people from being slaughtered. It's how you utilize a tool. And something like Bitcoin, which very well could have, through Shah been created by the CIA or through NSA or through the government or through Mossad, any of these operations, very much possible. But we're missing a bigger point here. With blockchain technology, you can create your own. And while 99.9% are complete bullshit, like a lot of these meme coins, at the same time, you have an opportunity to get outside of the banking system, and you can create actual good pathways here, like privacy coins, like Epic Cash, which I've been talking about for a long time. Has the fundamentals of Bitcoin, but it's private. It's on the Mimblewimble protocol. It has a huge ecosystem that allows you to do a whole bunch of different things with it. It's not very popular yet because it is it's not mainstream. It's not the a coin with a dog's face on it. It's not a coin that has Trump's face on it or Biden's face on it. It's not a coin that is named after Elon Musk. It's not a coin that is a type of, well, okay, there's literally poop coin out there. Listen, they will create anything to make money off of it. And of course, Hawk Tuah. Yeah, great. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, it's so absurd. But Epic Cash actually has fundamentals. So I just want to put that out there. This isn't investment advice. It's just something that I have looked at extensively for many years, because I want, in the collapse of the dollar and in the rise of technocracy, to have a privacy coin way out. I also believe in having gold and silver, as I've told you guys many times. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But I do believe that having something like Epic Cash, and some people like Monero, and I'm not against Monero at all. There's Pirate Chain, there's Darrow, there's a whole bunch of different privacy coins out there. But something I focused on a lot for a long time is of course this coin called Epic Cash, and it allows you to be on this Mimblewimble protocol, and it's hard to explain in just one video. That's why we've done so many videos on it before with people that work for the project. But the point is, it means that when they come after you with digital IDs, you have something, even though it's on grid, it's off grid. You know what I mean? It's not traceable. If they say you have this money, no, you lost it in a boating accident. It allows you to barter outside of the system. And they're bringing in tyranny under the guise of convenience. And having a convenient way to get outside of tyranny is also a great thing. So I want to point that out. Again, if your money's in the bank, it's not yours, it's the bank's. If your money's always going to the banks via digital transactions and legal tender laws, it's never your money. It's always the banks, and you are enslaved to the banking system. It's on loan to them, or on loan to you, rather. And you sign a contract to that. It's absurd, and it's tracked and traced. And they just brought in the United Nations Pact for the Future, where they can shut off your bank account at any moment if you say negative things about the government. And they'll bring in carbon credits. They say this 193 countries signed on to this at the United Nations. It's a pact for the future. And they just brought in Basel III in, I believe, 63 countries that are signed on to then, this is from the World Bank, to come in and do bail-ins on your bank, which means to pay off their debts by just stealing your money out of your account. And the FDIC does not insure it. It's completely bankrupt, which means your money's gone. And how do they control you? Food, water, shelter, and money. And if you don't have access to those things outside of the system, you're screwed. That is why, even though it sounds ironic because it is digital, not all things are the same. You can have a human being that's evil and a human being that is good. You can have, black mold, or you can have probiotics. I mean, there's different things that have a good side and a bad side. Just because they're in the same grouping doesn't mean that they are the same. So digital currency does not necessarily mean Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not necessarily mean, a crypto. Well, there's cryptocurrency. You have blockchains. You have, of course, smart chains. You have smart contracts on these different chains. You have things like Pulse Chain, for example, which should replace Ethereum at this point. I don't know why anyone's still using Ethereum. It's absurd. You're just losing money on it. Everything that's on Ethereum is copied over in Pulse Chain. So just another heads up on that. But you have these different aspects to these things, and it's a way to get outside of that system so that you have a way to spend on things later on in the future when they are restricting you, when they're saying, if you want access to your money in this bank, that's all by legal tender laws, all by fiat, you have to comply. And then you say, no, I'm good. And if they say, do you have cryptocurrency? You say, no, I lost it all in a boating accident. I don't know what you're talking about. and they're like, prove it. And you're like, no, actually prove that I have that money. Because you could actually just you can memorize a code in your head and they'll never be able to access it. So Bitcoin is definitely traceable, just so you know. If you've connected it through banks or credit cards or any of those things online, though it's, there's a lot of people out there that bought it with cash on the street off of someone else that they met up with online, and they got that Bitcoin into their account. They traded into things like Monero and traded it back. It's like virtually untraceable at that point. But I'm ranting. I just wanted to let people know about the fundamentals of that issue, because I've been talking about this for so long and people miss the point. And by the way, the whole purpose of Bitcoin was to reject the banking system, was to withdraw from the banking system, was to withdraw from government and corporation and be completely decentralized. The opposite of a central bank digital currency. It's in the name. This is decentralization. And the problem is, because of greed, because of people wanting to make as much money as fast as possible, people have forgotten about the fundamentals. So therefore, we have BlackRock ETFs. Okay, yeah, that's great for the price. But what about the whole purpose of crypto? I mean, eventually, when the Tower of Babel comes falling down, BlackRock will eventually lose. But in the meantime, there's going to be massive manipulation of crypto with that. And BlackRock does the same thing with gold and silver, just like JP Morgan does. And they've been doing it for a long time. It says, having topped $100,000 overnight, speaking at 103,800, Bitcoin is not just at record highs versus the dollar, but also relative to gold. And arguably, the recent surge is down to one man. Bitcoin is up 55% since the election. And as always, he's not shy about mentioning Donald Trump says, congratulations, Bitcoiners, $100,000. You're welcome. Together, we will make America great again. Now, keep in mind that he previously wanted to ban Bitcoin and said that was terrible, but then saw that there's a huge amount of libertarians that he needed the votes for that like it. Now, this isn't an attack. It's basic politics. And he also said that he was into pardoning and freeing Ross Ulbricht, which is very important to me, because Ross Ulbricht, someone I've talked to on the phone before, someone I've spent time, I've stayed overnight at his mother's house when she was in Arizona, and I've tried to help her get the word out before. She's a wonderful woman, Lynn Ulbricht. I hope to talk to her again sometime soon, because I've known her for years, and she's a wonderful, wonderful person that cares about her son. But okay, so that is obviously good news. Okay, he's going to free Ross Ulbricht. I hope to God that he does. He deserves the freedom. But and many of the reasons so many people are rich in crypto is because of Ross Ulbricht, and not because he told everyone to buy the shitcoin, but because he made a website that allowed people to utilize it to purchase goods and services. But nonetheless, Trump did originally say that he wanted it banned at one point. He said it was trash. He was looking into ways to restrict it when he was president last. And of course, now he's turned around on that. The rally has added, it says, $1.4 trillion to the crypto ecosystem's market cap and pushed Bitcoin above Saudi Aramco as the seventh largest asset in the world. Not everyone is happy, though. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren is probably losing her mind. Elizabeth Warren will not love this either. Flows into Bitcoin ETFs have exploded since Trump was elected. I don't understand about getting into exchange tradable funds when you can just have a decentralized cryptocurrency. Like, I know you're betting on, the ups and downs and hoping to make money on top of the profits with further profits by bets, but that is just the opposite of the purpose of Bitcoin, is this centralized factor utilizing banks and trading desks, when you could just hold it in your hands and sit on it for years and have a way to get outside of the pension system, because you're fighting against inflation on both sides. You're going up versus inflation, and inflation is going up, so the dollar is going down versus your crypto in many cases. And over time, the average return is massive, and it always has been. Every year it's up. Even if you see a massive dip overall in the year, the percentages are up. And I just don't understand why anyone would want to get involved in the enemy's tool. And this is a big issue with the crypto community, because when I first got involved in cryptocurrencies, again, I'm not rich. I got in 2013 when it was about $100 or so. And I've spent it every month since then, well, up until about a year and a half ago when I basically ran out. But used it all the time in order to pay for my rent and to pay for electricity and for food. And because, you know, you don't make much in independent media. And obviously, if you're a controversial person that's not mainstream media and not mainstream alternative media either, you're going to get kind of pushed to the side and you don't make any money, no deals, none of that kind of stuff. So I had to utilize it for years to go and report on events. For example, in 2021, reporting on the vax protests in you know, in the Netherlands and in Italy and in France. And I was the only person in the world to actually document all these places all over the place without getting injected or getting tested. And it was due to being able to use these cryptos. So we could definitely use any help we can get on that. But I want to point out that kept us alive for all this time. And it was because the value was going up. And as we were selling it to pay for our living expenses, and we'd be able to utilize it to get gift cards for hotels.com or gift cards for airlines online using Bitcoin or Ethereum and other things, though Ethereum is almost useless at this point. The gas fees are so ridiculous. But nonetheless, again, another reason for Pulse Chain. Everything that's on Ethereum is on Pulse Chain copied over. So you have all your coins there. Just go and check it out. Anyway, another project by Richard Hart. But when I was able to do all those things, of course, I spent all my crypto over that time. So people are like, shouldn't you be rich? I'm like, yeah, if I kept all the crypto I had in 2013 to 2017, I would actually be somewhere around a billionaire. I'm not even kidding. But at that time, it was $100 for Bitcoin, not 100,000. At that time, I was selling it every time I get up to about $1,000. I'd just get it all out and pay for rent and pay for electricity and food and all that kind of stuff and travel. And there are times where it got a bit higher than other times, but at the end of the day, I would end up with very little. But it's kept us alive all this time, and it's so important. And that's something that I cannot say for the dollar, which has gone down constantly, and also the peso and the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar. We've been seeing a die-off in the Western economies, something I actually do want to get into right away, just considering the fact that the whole idea was to get outside of that mainstream banking system, that system of centralization. Well, a big part of that is now the shift away from the dollar. Trump fires warning shots at BRICS, threatens 100% tariffs if China, Russia develop US dollar alternative currency. Look, this was scripted a long time ago. The US literally propped up China and Russia in the first place and sabotaged their own economies in order to make this happen. It's like an excuse to collapse your empire to shift into another one, pretending it's not one giant world government, which of course is absurd. This is out of PeopleShare News. It says new BRICS banking system would render sanctions useless, ex-chancellor warns. And I agree. I mean, the sanctions and the tariffs will not mean anything in the long term because, of course, already Saudi Arabia and the UAE have left the dollar, the petrodollar system, which is based on their system, to join China. So we have 6.6 billion population worldwide of people in countries that are either in BRICS looking or trying to join BRICS. So let's be real there. China responds to Trump's BRICS threat. Beijing will deepen cooperation with fellow members of the economic bloc. The foreign minister says, yeah, every time it just doubles down. Because we're seeing a massive economic shift, the likes of which we've never seen before. And that's why, you know, it's so important to not be looking at these ETFs. Again, this is not investment advice. This is just logic to me. And, you know, you have psychopaths like Jerome Powell saying people use Bitcoin as a speculative asset. It's like gold. It's not supposed to be speculative. People do use it that way, but it's not supposed to be speculative. And it's not about just, oh, it's not there, it doesn't exist. Value is what people give something. That's why the dollar, which doesn't have any real fundamentals anymore, it's lost the petro system. You know, people still, the value is still somewhat there. You're still able to spend it in stores because enough people are silly enough to believe in it. But with crypto, it's decentralized. So you're not getting, you know, the fractional reserve lending. You're not going to get zero reserve policies. You're not going to have to deal with quantitative easing and this Keynesian economic system. You end up with a system that is decentralized. And can it be speculative? Absolutely. And can gold be speculative? Absolutely. But it's a value you give to it. Value is not objective, it's subjective. It's subjective based on the individual who believes this is worth something. I'll give you an example, and I used to say this all the time, going back to 2016 in my videos on crypto. As I would say back then, I'm reaching back because it's been a while. There's tribes in the Caribbean that would be approached by Westerners suddenly, and they don't know what's going on. They don't know what the value of pearls are, for example. But they knew that Westerners wanted it, but they thought it was useless. So they got like almost nothing in return and basically just gave Westerners pearls, who then went on to sell it for huge amounts of money. But that money didn't mean anything to them. So for them, they did put value on that. They put value on food, shelter, and having kids. That's basically it. It's natural order. And they did not see the currency of some Western country, some paper money, some coins, as meaning anything other than, okay, this is an interesting collector item, basically. And they didn't see those pearls, which, by the way, they would die diving for. People's lungs would collapse while underwater, and they drown because they go so deep trying to get these pearls. But they did not see value in those pearls. They saw value in the other part of what was in the shell, the food. So the pearl diving became a big thing, and they traded for some things, but it was almost nothing. It's like 2% of what the value of the pearl was. But they thought this was a good deal because they had their own subjective view of value. So, like, for example, if the internet does not exist, which, again, they're building the whole new system on the Internet of Things. So they might take it down to bring in a new security apparatus, a more centralized internet system that people will be enslaved to in the future, similar to what we see in China or like in even North Korea. But generally, there's going to be decentralized methods to escape from that system. They're not going to completely shut down the internet, though EMPs and everything are a risk. But if the internet was down for that period of time, Bitcoin isn't worth anything when you can't use it, right? Okay. Same goes for the dollar when the dollar is digital. And okay, then you have gold, and having to shave pieces of gold off to buy things at stores is silly. There's really good alternatives for that, where they have developed gold bills that are really awesome and can be used in many stores around the United States right now. But my point remains the same. It's not your number one issue isn't going to be, well, what about my wealth in crypto if the internet goes down? But again, that won't be a long-term thing for sure, because that'll just be a thing to order out of chaos, false flag, force you into the system where you're going, oh my God, I can't access my money. Oh, we'll have some food rations. See, the solution there is to stock up on storable foods, which we also have a link in the description for, heavensharvest.com, code WAM, W-A-M, because it's going to be one or the other. Okay, so the original currency of the world is food. Well, that does not change the fact that certain cryptocurrencies, specifically privacy coins, could be life-saving in a situation where the internet is on and you're able to trade and barter with something that actually is growing in value, not losing value, and allows you to feed your family and barter on the black market, which the black market is a garage sale, it's a yard sale, it's a flea market. That is the basis of the original notion of capitalism, not this corporatist system that we have today, which is monopolized certainly by government under the guise of stopping monopolies. So that's a different system entirely. But there will come a time where, in a destructive economic environment, you have to barter. And I believe that we are very close to that kind of system. And it'll be an illegal market, a black market, because it's outside of the ration system that they're going to be feeding you, just like lockdowns and vaccines to protect your family. And so that we can get this over with, they'll say you have to do this as well to stop climate change, to stop World War III, to stop, to ration properly so your neighbor can eat. They have enough, more than enough, it's stocked up for your neighbor. It's about conditioning you and putting you into a state of dependence. And having this tool on the side is extremely important, I believe. So again, people are going to hate it. They're going to say, hey, it's a CIA created creation, whatever they want to say. I'm not even arguing that. It's the technology. It's the basis of the technology. It's the decentralization of the technology and how you could utilize new tools that are privacy based to pull outside of that system of dependency on a fiat system or on the government. And again, like I said, gold and silver is good. Have that. We have our link for Mark Gonzalez in the description below. But we also have to, and again, that's a link that says to buy gold, firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ has to be that link. But we also have real options that you could just take advantage of yourself. And it's very easy to buy crypto. It's very easy to get into that. I would personally suggest finding someone that is willing to meet, that's trustworthy, meet with some friends and purchase personally off of them in cash so that it's not traceable at all. But nonetheless, I mean, Credit Karma did a survey back in 2017 that looked at how many people that had Bitcoin actually paid taxes on it, and it was 0.05%. Who is that 0.05% of people? Now it's much more because you have these big corporations involved trying to monopolize it, trying to manipulate the market. But eventually the market becomes so big that you cannot manipulate it much anymore. And the system that they're basing it on, okay, this is based in this amount of dollars. The dollar system is going to be gone. You're going to be basing it on something else. And eventually you'll just be basing it on what the purchasing power of it is. So that's important. So again, there are real solutions out there that I've been talking about for so long. The market is going absolutely crazy right now. Here's Bitcoin, 99,117. It was just at 191 now. It was just at 103,000, all-time highs. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, it's really crazy because I remember being called crazy back in 2013 at $100, saying that Bitcoin would hit $100,000, and people just looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" But again, and a lot of people got into crypto. I'm not trying to be bitter here, but a lot of people got into crypto because I got them into it early on when we were strictly an economics channel back in the days of 2014, 2015, 2016, and when we're doing videos regularly on the banking system. Which is in a free fall collapse right now and totally bankrupt and underfunded. And again, the FDIC isn't covering any of this. And I remember at the time talking about this. And I know people that got into it and made hundreds of millions of dollars after I suggested they check this out. And again, it's not about making money. It's about having that access. But that's a huge insurance policy right there. That means screw pensions, screw this system of welfare. That's enough for multi-generational wealth to keep your family secure. With that, of course, there's multiple different ways of wealth. Some of that wealth being experience, some of that wealth being time, some of that wealth being food and shelter, all these different things. But nonetheless, it's obviously a big safety net. And unfortunately, I haven't heard from most of those people in a few years that I made 100 millionaires getting them into this. But that's okay. It is all part of the depressing nature of trying to help people, and people don't really respond to it, but that's fine. It's way of the world. Epic Cash here. Again, you'll say, oh, that's really low compared to what it once was. Absolutely, it is. It's very low. Exactly why you don't get into something when it's at the top. You get into it when it's at the bottom. So I'm a big fan of Epic Cash, and I know in a bull market, we're going to see some major moves like before when it went from 5 cents to $6.37. Again, this isn't investment advice. It's not investment. Do your own due diligence. But to me, it's not an investment at all. Yeah, you can gain value over time on it, but you can also and by the way, their all-time move right now at this point, even at 27 cents, is 1,974% up. But it's not about investment. This is about wealth insurance. I truly believe that. So you can find it on ViteX. There's an app on the phone for that. You can trade it from Bitcoin or USDT, and then also change now. But again, we're seeing a major economic shift take place here. And then people are wasting their time getting into this bullshit. Barstool Sports reports the Tuah girl launched a meme coin. Everybody lost their money. People want her thrown in jail. This person said, Sirwin Live said, if you can't trust the girl who was drunk and said spit on that thing, who can you trust? And this person pointed out, if you invested in a meme coin from the Tuah girl, you're destined to be poor forever with those decision-making skills. This guy here, put his life savings into it and his kid's college fund, Gigadrin on Twitter. Man, I mean, it's obvious newbie. I mean, this is so ridiculous. And the team at Tuah at their coin clearly sold. I don't think that she is smart enough to actually do it herself. She trusted the wrong people. Nonetheless, it's absurd. And what is the value in it other than a face that is going to slowly drift away outside of the lexicon in the coming years? Just absolutely silly. There are real world solutions out there that could save you from the collapse of the current system and the control in a technocratic system. Again, so ironic since it's digital, but getting into these nonsense meme coins could make you a ton of money fast, but the risk outweighs the reward for most. The reason that some people make a ton of money fast on it is because so many more people are losing. And with that said, there are real things that I, again, don't believe. I don't see it as an investment. I see it as wealth insurance. Though, if you want to actually trade, I'm a big fan of Pulse Chain, and I highly recommend it. It's mostly shadow banned for most places. But look, Pulse Chain is an ecosystem. It's basically a copy of Ethereum. And instead of spending a massive amount of money to try and trade something, like I tried to trade $300 of Ethereum the other day and they wanted $122 to trade it. Absolutely bullshit. In my opinion, Pulse Chain is a major player here in replacing Ethereum, and has everything that's on Ethereum is backed up also on a Pulse Chain. You have a complete copy of it, and you can swap really easily. So it's on a lot of different markets, but I would just suggest you go through their actual website, go through Richard Hart on Twitter to find the best information on that. And I mean, there's a lot of real fundamentals to this that I think could help a lot of people long term instead of trading in these Ethereum coins. Nonetheless, the world is changing. Some of this stuff I understand is very confusing to a lot of people, and I'm sure still is after I talked about this, for the last, I don't know how many minutes, but people have to understand, yes, it's speculative. No, it doesn't have to be for you. You can make your own choices in this, where it's not just making a bunch of money. It's saving your money and keeping it out of the watchful eye of the state, again, through decentralized apparatus, including things like Epic Cash, Monero, Pirate Chain, Darrow, etc. So I'm going to put that out there. Again, Bitcoin is about to fall under 50% dominance, so we're going to see a lot of other big coins take off. I'm sure we're going to see Dogecoin go through the roof with this new Doge Department of Government Efficiency thing happening in the Trump administration. We're going to see a lot of regulations pulled back, but a lot more put in. There's a lot of market manipulation happening, but it just hangs steady. There is a light at the end of the tunnel with this, and it's a great way to ensure that you don't end up enslaved to a centralized central banking system. Again, it's in the name. But don't fall for the scams, because 99.9% of these are scams. So stick to the things that are well researched, well understood. And again, like I mentioned, if you want to just start off, Bitcoin is the way. But of course, I highly recommend privacy coins, because Bitcoin is technically a surveillance mechanism, but is a pathway into a lot of things that aren't, and save you from that very system. It's so weird, isn't it? But I'm going to continue reporting on this in the near future. There's a lot more to break down on this. We've talked about it for so many years here at WHAM. I just figured it would be a good time for an update, because it's been a couple of years since we really dug deep into Bitcoin. So for those new viewers that have joined us only in the last couple of years, some people have not really heard us go into detail on the issue of cryptocurrency. So I wanted to get that out there today. Anyways, I'm going to finish that off there. If you want to help support us, we could really use the help. We have our Bitcoin address linked in the description. We have it in text form, but we also have it here to scan on the screen, if you please. We also have CoinTree, our link to our CoinTree address, which has all these different cryptocurrencies involved, which you can donate in, including Litecash, Epic Cash, Pirate Chain, Bitcoin SV, Ethereum, Monero, Dash, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and yes, of course, Bitcoin. So any help is very much appreciated. We cannot survive without you, and you guys make the world in World Alternative Media Go Around, we cannot survive without your help. So we appreciate it. Again, we have gogetfunding.com, Patreon, Subscribestar as well. If you pledge $4.99 a month or more, you will get exclusive content on both Patreon and Subscribestar. If you want to stock up and get prepared for what is to come, there are many things you can do, my friends. Again, I urge people to check that link for heavensharvest.com for long-term storable foods that are non-GMO. There's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you'll get 5% off as well as free shipping on these items. There's even self-heating meal kits that you just add water and they heat up in the bag. I honestly believe this is life-saving. This is the world's first currency, speaking of currency, and they're coming after us in both the way of like I said, food, water, shelter, and of course, our bank accounts. So this is a way to protect yourself with the world's first currency and stock up long-term for the sake of your children, for the future of your children. So go and check that out below. Help the farmers and help yourself at the same time. They're putting a lot of poison in the food supply. Go and check out our link for wild pastures link below, and you'll get 20% off for life plus $15 off your first box of 100% grass-fed and finished beef, pasture-raised pork, pasture-raised chicken, and wild-caught seafood. No mRNA, no GMOs, no hormones, no steroids, no antibiotics, feedlots, pesticides, or any other chemicals of any kind. All raised on regenerative family farms in 48 U.S. states, delivered to your door, temperature controlled and customizable as you see fit. I think this is life-saving stuff. It helps the farmers. It helps save you from the poison they're putting in the food supply at the store. And it also saves you money. So go and check out our link. Again, it's only through our link that you will get that 20% off for life plus $15 off your first box. Again, we have our link for the, from Patriot Prepared, that is, of course, in the description, for the Freedom Kelly Kettle Ultimate Stainless Steel Base Camp Kit, which has a 1.6 liter steel-based camp kettle, cook set, hobo stove, cup set, new plate set, pot sport, and carry bag. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you will get free shipping on this. Again, we're just trying to give you guys solutions to real-world problems happening out there in the world. If you use code WAM on any of the other things on Patriot Prepared's website, you will also save money. Again, a big one that's coming up, and one of the ways that a lot of people found out about cryptocurrency, Anarchapulco. We have a link in the description, anarchapulco.com, for the Anarchapulco conference in 2025 in Acapulco, Mexico, February 2025. I hope to see you there. You could use code WAM, W-A-M, and get money off on your tickets. So I urge you to check that out in the links below. And again, there's amazing speakers, people like, of course, Jeff Berwick, Gareth Ike, Joel Salatin. We can see Max Egan, Charlie Robinson, Dr. Andrew Cobman. There's a lot of great people that are going to be there, and I'll be there as well. So go and get your tickets today. And of course, we have for health, rncstore.com, Richardson Nutritional Center, your source for Laetrile online, made famous by G. Edward Griffin's book, World Without Cancer. Get your apricot seeds, Laetrile, amygdalin, and vitamin B17 there. You could use code JOSH, J-O-S-H, and save money on your order. So I urge people to go and check that out. And finally, speaking of other financial issues here, I mentioned it earlier, firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/. It has to be that exact link. It's in the description. To buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, hold it in your hands, put it in a vault, put it in an IRA outside of the mainstream IRAs and the traditional IRA system. So I think this is a great way to avoid the CBDC. You'll get a free consultation with Mark Gonzalez, a good friend of ours, and a complimentary investors package. In the comments when you sign up, let him know that you found him at World Alternative Media or WAM, W-A-M. And of course, that will be beneficial to all of us. So again, go and check that out below. As always, you can find different ways to fund us. We mentioned it before. We also have a PayPal address, ancientwonderstelevision@gmail.com. We have a Teespring store with a bunch of merchandise. And if you guys want to find us on different platforms, as always, we are on Telegram, Rockfin, Band.video, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, and Brighteon at World Alternative Media. We're on Hive, Steemit, and Vigilante.tv at Josh Sigurdson. And on the Bad Guys, TikTok and Instagram, World Alternative Media, Twitter and Getter at World Alt Media, and all the major podcast platforms except for Spotify, where, of course, we are banned. No shock there. Hit that like button, share on social media, hit the notification bell, and hit subscribe if you have not yet already. And as always, my friends, live freely, live by example. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.